Hello, 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 everybody on Facebook tonight and Instagram Live, wherever you're coming from. Welcome to the 11th hour with Dwayne Hirsch. I'm here tonight, like I am a few nights a week, talking to the late night entrepreneur, kind of making sure that you up and working and at it. And maybe I can tell you something that might give you a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of inspiration, or maybe even a little bit of knowledge and things that you may not have known about that you can learn about here tonight. Just like you can learn about them in our masterclass by going to DwayneHirsch.com and signing up for our masterclasses. These are going to be some great classes. We're teaching on the psychology of entrepreneurship, business development, and networking. So during these 11th hour broadcasts, it'll be coming to you in a couple of ways, just talking about some of the, kind of touching over some of the topics that we'll go over in various classes. So tonight our subject is the real reason why we can't get access to capital. So if you talk to any business owner about their challenge, just about any business owner will tell you that their challenge is getting access to capital. You hear that talked about in conversations about economic development, whether it's in the political or the social space. Everybody's talking about access to capital. Now, so I'm going to speak to you a little bit tonight from my experience and what I've seen. And I've been hosting networking events for 9 years, almost 10 years now. So I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs come and go through that window, a lot of people I've met along the way, and then my own experiences with raising money for different businesses along the way. So, you know, everything we do is not about race. All of the challenges that we have confronting us right now are not necessarily about race, but there's things that we don't necessarily want to talk about with respect to how we go after those challenges. So let's just assume that there is discrimination in banking. There's no question about that. However, banking is a business. Banking is a business where they are in the business of selling money. And because they're in it for the money, whether you black, white, or otherwise, it's not as important as the viability of you as a client and a customer. So on this program, I tend to talk about what we can do, not what we cannot do. And to me, you can never talk about what you cannot do until you have exhausted every single option available to you. Not what somebody told you they couldn't do, what you tried to do and couldn't do. Only then can you really say, oh, it ain't no access to capital, man, ain't nobody giving out no money, whatever. I see it happen all the time, and I see people get money all the time. I know quite a few business owners that are doing very well because they took advantage of either a short-term opportunity or a longer-term process. So tonight, we'll talk a little bit about that, but we'll start with banking. Like I say, banking is a business, and they are in the business of lending you money. Now, the good thing is these days is that you have places that you can go online and apply for different loans. There's a lot of alternative loan products out there. And one of those alternative lenders is called National Corporate Credit. If you give me an inbox or something, I'll get you the information. Shout out to Jeremiah Schultz. He's a sponsor at the Hyde Park Happy Hour. But what they do is they provide a couple of different types of loan programs. But you have to be credit strong in order to get them. 680 or better. And depending on the type of loan you get, you would have to have a 40% debt to income ratio or better. Or you would just have to apply to a program to say get business credit cards that you can use to kind of carry and sustain your business, if you will. Now, a long time ago, when I was selling cars, a manager that I was a salesman, young go-getter salesman, and the manager tells me, I see this car that they dressed up. We were at a Kia dealership, and it's this ugly car dressed up on the floor. They put all of these packages on it with these graphics, and the car was just plain ugly to me. So I asked him, like, why did y'all do that to this car, man? It's like terrible. So he tells me, calm down, son, you know, kind of joking with me. And he said, man, there's an ass for every seat. And you just watch. Later on that day, guy walks in like it's the greatest car he ever saw, buys the car at full price from me. What I learned that day is that no matter what you're selling, there's always a taker. And as a business owner looking for capital, you are the product. You are what's being sold. So you have to approach it in a way that kind of lends itself to that and make sure that people can understand who you are, what you do, and what your real goals are. But it starts with really having a clear understanding of what you want. How much money do you need? What do you need it for? You need 50,000, you need 100,000. What are your spends? and how can you equate what you bring in to what you expect to gain in productivity? Are you borrowing money for payroll to be able to hire employees? What is it that you're looking to do? Now, a lot of people get intimidated by the process that goes along with this, and they think, oh, you got to have this big, long business plan that explains every single detail. And for what you would do with Jeremiah Schultz and National Corporate Credit and some other companies out there that do different things you guys may have heard of, but those companies don't necessarily require as much in the way of, you proofing and them vetting the totality of what you're doing in your business. It's when you go to private lenders and banks and micro lenders and different things like that, where you got to kind of have a much more clear layout of that, right? So you don't always need a business plan these days. What you really need to have is just a simple executive summary. And an executive summary is just an abbreviated business plan. I hope you can see that. But it's an abbreviated business plan that just simply, in a couple of pages maybe, simply states exactly who you are, exactly what you do, exactly what you're looking for, and exactly how you expect it to return. Now, in order to put that together, there's another thing I recommend. So when you're presenting to private lenders, whether you're trying to borrow $20,000, $100,000, million, whatever you're going after, there's a certain level of preparation you really need to be prepared to walk in the room with. And so what I'm finding, just to be straight with y'all, is that people are not necessarily going through what they need to prepare themselves for the opportunity. So basically just having your shit together. I mean, it's really that simple. So there's challenges that you'll get with credit. So if you call Jeremiah Schultz, if I connect you with him and he says, well, hey, your credit score is not strong enough, he'll tell you what you need to do. Now, this is where you can take kind of a mid to long-term approach, because if he says, hey, you can go maybe repair a few things on your credit and you can qualify for this in a few months, then that's something you need to invest in and just kind of try to stretch your strategy to accommodate that. Or you can they allow you to essentially take on a resource partner who has the qualifying credit that you can work with and make your own deal with, for them to be a resource partner or work in a joint venture with your company to provide you with that resource that you need to get the funding that you need. And in those situations, guys, you want to be equitable. You want to be fair. People kind of throw the word partnership around, but sometimes what y'all need to do is do joint ventures. You got your company, I got my company, and we're working together on a very specific set of things. And that when those set of things are completed or not completed, this process is over with. And that way you're not tied to everybody for so long. You're not tied to uncomfortable business partners who are, okay, I got to go start a new LLC because me and this guy or this lady fell out and now it's all crazy. But these are real challenges that you have, because what happens is, as you start to go down the road of entrepreneurship, you start to find that the people that you partner with, who you kind of came out with the money dream with, everybody's interests start to change at a certain point. And everybody's not always in it for the same reason. Everybody doesn't have the same challenges, let's say in their personal lives, and different things they have to navigate and go through that might affect your ability to be successful. So you have to really be careful with who you call a business partner. Partnering with someone is cool, but calling someone a business partner is a serious thing. So back when I was doing the premium energy drink, they brought some people in. We paid a company to do capital acquisition for us, and they bought in a team of people. Both of them used to work with Goldman Sachs. One lady was with Macquarie of Australia, and the other gentleman has started his own capital firm in Malibu, California. And they sat down and they went through and they trained me basically on how to make the pitch. And we were pitching at that time for anywhere from 3 to 5 million and beyond. So in this process, they taught me and showed me a lot, but just the real key to that is the quality of the presentation and what you present, your knowledge of the numbers, how they work in terms of what you need to spend. If you're selling a consumer packaged good, even if you're selling say an out of the store product or online product like hair and colognes or any different consumer packaged good, even bottled water, you want to know what every product costs you, what you sell it for, and how much it costs you to actually sell it. So there's a lot of breakdown. So we went through hours and hours of numbers, breaking things down to the very ounce, to the cost and the sale per ounce, per can, per drink. And that was a very long process, but I learned a lot in that process. So then in that presentation, you present these numbers, you present your dream, you tell them who you are, and you're selling yourself. And now you got to present your team. Who's your team, right? Who is your attorney? Who is your accountant? Company officers, CEO, CFO, Chief Information Officer, if you have that. So who is the team that's going to make me feel like you're going to be able to pull off what I see in either your business plan, executive summary, and or from the conversations that we have and the questions we ask along the way? Do you have Ashara Kamal on your side? And shout out to her for being a sponsor of our masterclass series. Do you have an accountant? Do you have an Amari Kamal on your team? Do you have an Aiton Taylor, a Deanna Grant on your team who knows the numbers, who can make sure that as the business starts to unfold, as the money comes into you and the loan or the investment comes into you, that money gets placed properly, managed properly, spent properly, and of course, returned properly. Very important position there. And then your corporate offices, who's running the day-to-day operations of this company? Who's managing the technical side, the social media, the marketing, all of these different things? You want to have these people there. Now, this kind of reverts back to what we talked about the other day on how the hookup hurts black business. When you go to people for these type of services to raise money from a real business, you have to be willing to pay these people what they are worth. You have to be willing to pay them to get the most out of them so that you can get the most out of what it is that you're after. And you always got to be prepared. You got to stay prepared. You should, if you're one of those people like I was at one time and still consider myself to be, where, how can I put it? Like one person, you can meet one person. Your whole business thing is set up where one day you've been putting yourself out there all this time. You've been sending emails, you've been networking, you've been meeting people. So one phone call can change all that. And they say, hey, come on, we got to go meet this person. That's how it happened with me many, many times. And you'll hear about those types of experiences in the masterclass. But these things just come up, but you got to be ready. So you got to be dressed for that. You got to leave the house with the idea every day that I'm worth this, that I've established my value in the marketplace, and I can raise this money. Patience versus instant gratification. How patient are you? Are you patient enough to wait 6 months, a year? Are you patient enough to wait until Gary Moore or one of these other fine folks clean your credit up? And now you can go after this thing the way you really, really want to go at it? Are you willing to partner with someone? Now, another very important point is a DUNS number. Dun & Bradstreet, the business credit reporting company, has a Paydex score that you can earn by first ordering and getting a Dun & Bradstreet number. Then you can use that number to set up kind of low-level credit accounts with different companies that provide supplies to a business like yours. It might be $500 account, $1,000 account. You maintain those accounts for a period of about 6 months. Then you can apply for credit directly through your business. A good friend of mine taught me about that. That type of information is all over the internet. There's tons of information out there about unique and strategic ways to raise money, especially in the environment we're in the technological environment, in a world of disruptions and new advancements. People are always looking for that edge. And whether you're a company that sees yourself that way or you're doing something a bit more modest, there is money out there for you. Again, there's an ask for every seat. That means there's somebody out there that will invest in you, but you got to be prepared to attack that the right way. Now, if you wanted access to real estate capital, that capital is out there. Hard money lenders like Lima One Capital, shout out to Mark Buford, who's also a sponsor of the Hyde Park Happy Hour. Yes, you have credit requirements and capital requirements to meet, but if you do not have that, there is still an opportunity waiting with another person who does not have what you have. And so it becomes a partnership or a joint venture based on resources. That's very important because that's how you really can achieve it. That's how you really can go out and get that and get something like that done sometime. You got a great idea, you got a great concept, you got the ability to express that vision on paper and in presentation, and another person has the credit and the income to qualify for what you need here to make that real. You got to be creative and come up with that. So yeah, there's challenges that we have with accessing capital. Another challenge is just has to do with, again, how we come after it and what it is that we're looking for money for. So if I ask you today, I want you to just really think about this honestly, right? And think to yourself, do you really know what you need it for? Can you write down right now for me, and feel free to answer yes in the comment box or no. Do you know everything you need to spend money on? Every item of the money you're looking to raise, even if it's just $5,000 from a micro lender, because you can't spend that money to pay bills. We, as entrepreneurs, we take a hit. Even as a real estate agent, if you're not closing deals, you're not getting a check. So you got to be prepared to sometimes live a month, 2, 3 months without real income. So if you're positioning yourself to be able to take that on and go, then you have to be doing everything you can to make every resource possible available to acquire some capital. And you can do that. I've seen people who are, for all intents and purposes, not the sharpest knives in the drawer, get a lot of money from people. And I know people who were brilliant who got to the door and screwed it up. Quick story. Several years ago, a lady that I know had a product that was a game changer, a global game changer. This product was something that would have sold literally probably billions of dollars for a 5 to 10 year run, easy, and could probably still be selling today with the extensions of the product. She had patents on the product. It was something that was very simple but very innovative in the way it was laid out. It was brilliant. She asked for my help to introduce her to some people who might be able to invest in that time. And that was kind of in a early post-crash type of phase of the economy. So people were moving things out of real estate and moving into other stuff. So I knew a guy who was doing that. He was working with some people in a hedge fund. He was down in Miami doing big things. So I said, well, man, this is a big opportunity. I looked at it, the patents, everything, all of that stuff checked out. But, like a lot of us, she had her challenges personally. Every one of us that can create a business and create a wonderful idea is not necessarily suited to manage the business of that. And that's why that team part is so important, because you're not always the person that can run that football across the line, but you can certainly hand it off or throw the pass and come up with the play that gets you there. So understand what your role is in that equation, understand what your limitations are, and pursue the game accordingly. Understand what you have at your advantage, but you got to go out there with a positive mindset. So this young lady, I connect her with him. They have an initial conversation, some emails get exchanged. He's interested. Saturday morning, I'm out doing some other things. I'm not even involved really in that. I kind of, at that point in my life, I was connecting people and just kind of letting them go, which I still do now. So I let them go and let them talk. They got to a point where his people wanted to make her an offer, maybe send her a term sheet, and they sent her some requirements. Here, send us this, send us this, send us this. She gets the guy on the phone and cussed him out. Right hand to the man, she cussed him out. Because not from a, hey, MF so-and-so, but why the F do I need this and why are you asking me that? That's proprietary information, this and that. Now, they already signed non-disclosure agreements that protected everybody's information. The proprietary information was protected because she had actual patents. Long story short, she goes off on the man. He said, Dwayne, the only reason I talked to her is because of you, because you referred it to me, and I appreciate the opportunity, but that ain't gonna work. Needless to say, he never answered my call again, and I haven't talked to him. I might have seen him once since. I mean, we still cool, but he made it clear that in that world, when you get up to the point of you pursuing something where it's big money involved, you can't get to that point and be playing games with these people. You got to be standing up to it. And yes, people are going to ask for a big chunk sometimes when they see you got something great, but you don't have the ability to get it across. You have to know what you're willing to sacrifice. See, her thing was she didn't want other owners. She wanted to be the one to run it, not just to get it to the point where she could fund it and build it. She wanted to run it. And that was not her capability. And anybody who talked to her knew that. And because she was unwilling to relinquish that was a dream deferred, because the essence of what she had invented, the window of time on that opportunity had shrank pretty fast, and is still shrinking because other technologies have been introduced that limit the need for what it was that she created at that time. You don't have forever to do this, guys. You either gonna get in or you're gonna stay in the way. But you can work to build yourself, to build your company, to raise the capital that you need. It's not always about somebody's desire to exclude you. Damn it, if they're gonna put an obstacle in the road, find a way around it. These are historical problems. If you want to take this to a racial context, those are historical problems. Now, we do have something else at our disposal that helps us overcome that. We could do that tomorrow. It's equity crowdfunding. You've heard me talk about it 1,000 times. And as I wrap up tonight, I'll tell you that Community Capital, Amari Kamal and I are working, and those guys with that team are working very hard to get these next set of projects out there. Because my whole thing, guys, is this. I'm going to offer you economic ideas and solutions through this class and things that you're going to hear me talk about here. But my whole point of this is that I'm looking to be the example of what it is that I'm talking about. And once I do that, my hope is going to be that everybody gets on board with that and we start to run and rebuild our community. Every business that you build is not just about, you having a singular presence in the community, but it's out there, you going out there and building your business, even if it's an online business, and just being an example to other people of what's possible. The time that we live in is giving us more opportunity than ever before. So how are we going to operate on the same limitation that my father may have, even when, or that existed in the 70s when I was a child? I'm a 70s baby, 1971. We got way more at our disposal now than we had then, but we had more major black companies in the 60s and 70s and early 80s than we do now. So anyway, my point is that we're not using what's at our disposal. That's the reason why we can't access capital. The tools are there, the funds are there, and the market is there. There are people that are waiting to give you money for what you have. If there's an ask for every seat, your job is to find the ass to sit down in that seat. But you got to be prepared first. So my encouragement is to make sure you connect with the professional bodies if that is not within your skill level. I am open and available for consultations on that, but I think you'll get a big kick out of getting that information from the Dwayne Hirsch Masterclass that you can go to at www.dwaynehirsch.com. Still got a couple of specials out there with discounts, and those Bill Walsh tickets, a couple of those are still left. So jump in, get a couple, inspire yourself and inspire someone else. And don't let the 11th hour be your last hour. Keep working and have a really good night. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll be back tomorrow with another broadcast. And Wednesday night at the Hyde Park Happy Hour, 5225 Harper, we got Fritz Kagi, the Cook County Assessor, possibly to be. He's still a candidate as a Democrat for the Cook County Assessor's position. He is going to talk about how they're going to change the Cook County property tax system. This is very important information if you're a homeowner, a real estate investor, a real estate agent, to know what this is going to be like, because we found out some pretty horrible things about the way this process had worked before. So now, we invited him and his opponent, Joseph Paglia, to attend. If they both are there, great, because either way, you might get to learn from the new assessor ahead of time, set a table for some demands and some things that we can ask about and make sure that he's going to live up to those promises. So again, it's about standing on the front politically, economically, and with respect to access to capital. So again, thank you tonight. The 11th hour. Keep working.